Hello, Susan here from Making Crafts, and welcome to the Not Too Shabby Shop channel. This month I have been playing with the My Favorite Things Pure Poppies stamp set, and this stamp set comes with 4 flowers and 2 leaves. And so for this one I've created a few cards that I'd like to show you, and then I'll show you how I created one of the cards. So for my first 2 cards I have flat cards that came in a pack with these cards and envelopes, and I never really knew what to do with these cards. So I thought they worked perfectly for this stamp set. So for the first one, I've just stamped one of the flowers on it, and then I've used a sentiment from Fawn, and it's one of their autumn sets from last year. I will list all of the stamp sets below that I used for these cards, because I used the various stamps along with the Pure Poppy stamp. So for the edges of this card, I used 2 different color distress inks. So I used the Peacock Feathers as well as the Cracked Pistachio. And I also used my blending brush, and what I did was I just came in and blended all the green on the round corners, and then on the little peaks here I used the Peacock Feathers, and then when they met they blend, and these 2 colors blend really well together. These are 2 of my favorite colors, and so I love how that turns out. So for the next one I did pretty much the same thing, used the Fawn stamps sentiment there, 2 of the flowers. I did add a little bit of splash of black ink to this one, and then I used the Distress Oxide Spun Sugar and Dusty Concord. And so once again, this time I focused the dark purple on the sides and then the light pink in the middle and blended them when they met. And then I came back with my blending brush or blending tool here, and I just, like when you distress the edges, instead this time I just lightly went around with black to frame it out. For my next set of cards, I did a different technique on those. And when I saw these Poppies stamp, I really thought watercolor. I wanted to do something with watercolor, but I wanted to make it super easy, super simple, something that could be done quickly and easily and by anyone, that you didn't have to be a colorist or a painter to do that. So this is the project that I came up with for that technique that would be super simple. And I really love how these turned out. So these 2 cards are done with the same technique but different paper. So the paper used for these flowers is different from this paper, and so you can see that it makes a big difference in the look. And I like both of them. I think both of them turned out pretty. And so for this card I did use the Pure Poppies, 2 of the flowers, and then the leaves. I also used the Honeybee stamps, and it's the Birthday Wishes stamp set for the sentiments on both of these cards. And then I used the Not Too Shabby Be Happy stamp set for the little bee here. And this is the stamp set that came out in the box of the month this past month. And so for these cards I did just use a white card base, and then I framed out the card here with the black paper. And to see how I created this technique and did this, and you can see that it's layered. I like that where these flowers are standing up more, they're not so flat, that they're layered up. So to see this technique, you can go over to my channel, Making Crafts, and I do link to my channel in the description below. So if you want to see how I created these, you can just, after you finish this video, click the arrow for the description and look at the description to a link to my channel for this technique. So today, I'm going to show you how I created these. And so once again, I was thinking watercolor, an easy way if you are not a colorist, somebody who wants to just color in their stamps but not have to really be a colorist or great at coloring. And this is a technique for you if that's you. So for these, I have used my colored pencils and some Gamsol. And so I used the Gamsol to blend out the colored pencils, and I thought it gave it sort of a watercolor effect. I've also used, the Poppy stamps, but I used the Birthday Wishes stamps from Honeybee Stamps as well. And then I've added some splatters to this card. And then to this one, I've just added some like little black pearls. And what that is it was pearls that I colored with permanent black marker. And so I'm going to show you now how I colored these in and how easy it is to color them and blend them. So to color these in, I'm just using my Chameleon colored pencils. And what I do is, when I color them, I come in and I color just parts of the flower. And as you can see, I'm just coloring where I want the darkest red to be. I'm leaving a lot of white space because when I come back with my Gamsol, I'm going to blend into that white space and get my lighter color. So as you can see for both of the flowers, I'd already started blending the small one, but here I am continuing to blend it, and I leave a lot of white space when I do color so that I have more space to blend out into. And so the color as you blend it lightens, and so that gives you your different color variation in your flower. And so you really don't have to be a colorist and know which colors to bring in together for this technique. So for this larger flower, you can see that I just come in with the Gamsol and I start blending out. So I blend out from my darkest out to the white. And for these, I decided not to blend all the way to the line. I'm leaving some white right before you get to the stamped line. And I think that adds to the dimension of the flower. And so I just go in for each part of the flower, starting with the dark color and moving towards the light and filling in the white space. And I think this does give it a little bit of a watercolor effect, and I like the effect that you get coloring it in this way. Now you will see that I continue to dip my blending tool into the Gamsol, and you have to do that. You have to keep repeating it so that your blending tool stays nice and wet with the Gamsol so that the blending is smooth and easy. Now for the leaves, I do the exact same thing. I do not color them in completely for this technique. I just color where I want my darkest color, which was around the edges, and then I came in and just colored the stem completely with the colored pencils. Now to add the shadow around the flowers, I'm coming in first with a very light gray and just deciding where I want all of my shadows. Once I have those colored in, I do come back with my blending tool and some Gamsol and start blending it out. Once I have the shadow where I want it, then I come back with the black colored pencil to fill in just a little bit more shadow. I don't add the black everywhere, but because I want some light and dark of the shadow. So I do just pick spots to add the black, and then I just blend it out with my blending tool and the Gamsol. And I think that this really helps the flower to pop off of the page and gives it more dimension when you do add these little shadows in. So I decided to do that for this card. So once I have all the coloring done, I come back with my black Stabilo Woody, and I just add it to my Stampin' Block along with some water. And then I've covered my flowers here with some scrap paper because I just want the splatters to be in the upper corner. I don't want splatters on my flowers. So here are the two cards that I completed using this technique. Don't forget to head over to my channel today to see how I created the other two cards using another watercolor technique. And these are super simple as well. And I will leave a list of the stamps that I used as well as a link to my channel and to this video in the description below. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.